Are we witnessing a major shift in the crypto markets? I very much think so. I will show you guys a chart that I think we should all be paying attention to right now. The focus will be shifting away from Bitcoin because Bitcoin has just broke its all-time highs at about that 110K level. So the next question we're all wondering about is, when are altcoins going to get crazy? I will let you guys know what I'm seeing in the total three charts, which is the altcoin charts excluding Ethereum, which are going to be inclusive of the bigger altcoins as well as the smaller altcoins, which is basically what I'm interested in when I'm trading spot positions for the most part, because those has higher volatility. Of course, it comes with higher risk. So if you guys don't know what you're getting into when you're opening positions on these smaller altcoins, I definitely encourage you guys to acknowledge the risk as well. We're also going to be talking about some altcoins later in the video, usually after the 10-minute mark. We're going to be talking about XRP. It has been on fire. We're going to be talking about Dogecoin. Is it about to make a significant move here since the last time we've talked about it? And we're also going to be talking about Onyxcoin and see what it could be happening. It is in the middle of a breakout. What could Onyxcoin be doing? Will it be pulling back or will it continue higher? So that's going to be later in this video. And of course, I'm still going to say that Bitcoin is the driver of this crypto markets, even though after it starts its bull cycle, it does lose its influence, right? We can see Bitcoin dominance falling from 65%, okay? So in this case, when we start the bull cycle, there could be more cases where you see Bitcoin takes a dip and the altcoins are not affected or as affected as we would see during times like 2 weeks ago when Bitcoin was consolidating and Bitcoin dips and altcoins are dipping harder. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look into some news first before the charts. This is by Cointelegraph. Excuse me. Bitcoin's next chapter from passive asset to financial powerhouse. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much into the actual news here, but I'm just reacting to the headlines. Um, I'm just going to speak personally that, I hold, basically, crypto is the only asset that I hold. Okay. I'm not into gold. I'm not into the metals. I don't have a house. Okay. I don't have real estate. So this is the only asset that I hold, and I do very much. I feel with this headline here. It's not a passive asset to me, but it is. It's basically my only asset, right? I believe in it. I believe in the technology. Of course, there's going to be a lot of, scams that happen, but that happens everywhere. Okay. So of course, I do my own research and I put on my critical thinking hat every time I listen and read something. Next piece here, it's going to be by Cointelegraph. Is FOMO back? Bitcoin's first timers buy 140K Bitcoin in 2 weeks. All right, so let's this is kind of funny because I started trading back in 2019, and 2019 was where all the YouTubers were anticipating institutional money to come into the markets, and that's gonna drive the markets crazy. But now it's flipped. Oh, now where we want the retail buyers to come into the markets, because I think institution has been all over this, and now we're expecting retail. So everything is like completely 180 now. Let's take a look into a metric that I am paying attention to in regards to keeping track of just the retail interest. This is Google Trends for Bitcoin, the search term, and this is in the US. And I find a lot of correlation with this because if we actually take a look into previous bull cycles like 2021, um, I see quite a bit of correlation between retail interest. I do think this is retail interest because this is basically by search volume in a good sense, right? So we are seeing retail interest in this week just spiking up to about 43 there. Let's take a look into retail interest back in January 2021 because that's when things start to get really crazy, right? If you guys have been around that long, right? Let's see, 2021 was right here. I would say about right here, about December, that last week of December to 2021, the first week of 2021. Look at that spike there. So we see correlation between retail interests and some major market moves here. So I do think retail interest is getting into the market. I encourage you guys to track this tool as well. It's one of the few external tools I use to kind of make sense of the market, to make some pretty good sense of the market, okay? Let's come back to the next piece of news here. XRP comes 7% away from new all-time highs. Bitcoin price stopped at 120K market watch. Okay, so after Bitcoin actually breaks its all-time highs and right now is stalling as is, I think this is actually not a bad sign for a lot of the altcoins to catch up, including XRP. We're going to take a look into XRP in just 1 second at the charts. Let's see if it's like 7% or anywhere close to that away from its new all-time highs. I did talk about XRP a few days ago, right? So we're going to get into the charts in just a second. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. And this was by Crypto Potato. Next one is also by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin's rally isn't over, but a drop to 110K could be just what it needs. This sounds like someone who probably missed the boat at 110K and really wants Bitcoin to dip right back down to the previous resistance. I don't know. I mean, I mean, it's possible like that that it comes back down to 110K, but just based on what I'm seeing on the charts there, I mean, I very much think it's not likely at the moment, and I'll tell you guys why. All right, next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Retail waking up. Coinbase rockets to 137 in App Store. I guess this is another way you could probably track, um, track retail interest. If you track the weekly rankings of Coinbase, probably because that is the brokerage that a lot of newcomers will use. Hey, I was there. I used Coinbase when I first started. I still use Coinbase, but it is I would say it's very new user friendly, right? So I guess it is a way to track it, but I think I would like to rely more on Google Trends. All right, let's come back here to the charts here, okay? Let's talk about Bitcoin just real quick. I'll tell you guys why I don't think Bitcoin is likely to dip back down to 110K because we have quite a bit of moving averages coming up to the price action here. At least not anytime soon. That is just my opinion, of course. My speculations and not financial advice, right? None of what I'm saying here in this video is financial advice. But I do think that is a long shot that Bitcoin comes back down to dip to 110K, at least in the near future. Okay, because we have quite a bit of moving averages coming up to the price action, including the daily 21 SMA at about 112K. Okay, and if it does, I'll probably be ready to buy some more Bitcoin. Okay, I am long on Bitcoin right now and quite a bit of smaller altcoins across the board. So, I mean, that's just, I'm ready to buy more Bitcoin if it actually does that. Let's go ahead and go to the 12-hour 21 SMA here. The blue line currently about almost 116K. So moving averages are very important because they are supports if they are below the price action. So quite a bit of moving averages as supports that could give Bitcoin a pretty good bounce from here. So this is why I think it's less likely it's going to dip down to 110K. Let's explore one chart that I haven't really talked about because Bitcoin has been consolidating, but now it is the focus, right? This is the total 3 charts, right? Which is basically the the overall altcoin markets excluding Ethereum. Why is this important? Okay, because when Bitcoin breaks above its all-time highs, like it did, the next question I'm wondering is when are altcoins gonna move? Because they've been taking huge hits, right? Since the beginning of this year, you guys can see this, right? Huge falling wedge pattern, extensive downtrend, broke out of it back in April. Okay, price target was about 1.1 trillion. Okay, it's getting there, right? It formed a smaller cup and handle pattern here, which is usually bullish. Okay, and the price target which it broke out of, right? The price target for this cup and handle pattern would be about 1.17 trillion. Okay, now, some of these concepts, like these patterns I'm talking about, I encourage you guys to do your own research and read about it. Let's just say, so I'm using Grok here, which is an AI tool within Twitter or X. It makes it very easy to learn these concepts. Okay, let's just take a test drive here. What is a cup and handle? Okay, so see, it gives you like an instant response as opposed to before, when I would actually have to Google search something without AI and actually read and actually click into each link and find what's useful and filter out what's not. A lot of what it's saying here is pretty useful. Okay, so let's just read the first line here. Cup and handle is a bullish continuation pattern in technical analysis, often signaling an uptrend. Will resume after a period of consolidation, and it resembles the shape of a teacup and a handle. So, yeah, I definitely agree with this response so far. So use Grok, use ChatGPT to learn these technical analysis concepts if you guys want to be trading in the long run. Because I definitely do. I don't believe in retirement, and you know, especially if I'm doing something that I like, and this is definitely one of those things I would like to keep doing. Let's go ahead and go into the next piece here. Oh, the altcoins now. Okay, XRP. What is going on with XRP? Since the last time we've talked about it, okay, we've talked about this huge falling wedge pattern. Okay, this is on the weekly time frame, but you could probably validate this pattern on a smaller time frame. But just zooming out here now, it broke out of here back in May, right? Didn't do quite much. It actually went down for quite a few weeks here, but stayed on top of this trend line here, so that breakout was still valid, even though it's been dragging down from that breakout point. Now, price target for this falling wedge pattern is just short of $4. Okay, XRP is going there. It is currently at about $3.25. Okay, so it is not far from reaching its all-time highs, which is so there is a resistance along the way, which is currently at about $3.40, and I'm pointing out this to you guys right here, from the 2 candle wicks back in January of this year. Okay, this is the weekly time frame, $3.40 resistance. And why should you guys be paying attention to resistance? In my opinion, that is where traders take profits. That's where I consider taking profits, depending on the time frame that I am paying attention to. It also depends on my trading strategy, right? So if I'm trading leverage, my general sense is that I like to get out sooner because it's riskier. Versus spots, I will probably take profits on a higher time frame. right? But this is the weekly time frame, okay? So, and the resistance is about $3.40, where it's likely to get at least a pullback, right? Because of people taking profits or maybe short sellers coming in. But I think it's crazy to short sell this market right now, especially if there's a lot more long opportunities in here. There's going to be a time when short selling is going to be good, but I don't think right now. So let's see if XRP can reach that target. And if it does, and if it consolidates at that price target level at about $4, I'll come back here and rechart what's going on with the consolidation and see if we can get a sense of it will continue higher in the short term or will it be dipping, right? So let's go ahead and go to the next coin here, which is Onyxcoin. Now, I just also want to say that price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. Very much depends on the market. I think we're in a very bullish market. I've seen price targets get broken like crazy in bullish markets, and I think we're in one right now. All right, this is XCN Onyxcoin. Okay, talked about this falling wedge pattern. Broke out of it just last week. Okay, currently at about trying to get above that that 2 cents resistance. Okay, let's zoom in here and see if we can get any clues on what could be happening. Now the price target for that breakout it's about 26 cents based on that breakout point. 2.6 cents. Okay. And since it has actually broken out, it has actually reclaimed some of these moving averages, including the daily 200 SMA. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame and see if I can get any more clues on what could be happening. Now, there's quite a bit of divergence on the 4-hour time frame, and it's pulling back like it usually suggests, right? Divergence, very important to be paying attention to. And right now, if Onyxcoin wants to continue higher in the shorter time frame, it does need to break this upper trend line. Because what I'm estimating is that if it gets rejected at this upper trend line here, it could form somewhat of a falling wedge pattern. It has not developed yet, right? But I mean that's what it's looking likely to do, which tells you that Onyx Coin could be in for a little bit more downside, right? If it doesn't break this upper trend line and gets rejected. So that's basically what I'm seeing for Onyx Coin so far. If you guys want to keep seeing more XRP, XCN, or any other altcoins, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. Let's go ahead and go to Dogecoin and see where it is at. It has been making some moves. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame. Okay, still broke out of this huge falling wedge pattern. Okay, price target for that pattern is about 40 cents. Okay, broke. It hasn't done much for a while. Okay, and it formed another smaller falling wedge pattern, which we've talked about. This is on the daily time frame. Price target for this one is about almost 25 cents. Dogecoin, it's almost there. It's trying to get on top of the daily 200 SMA, right? Now, I also talked about a smaller pattern here on the 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge pattern broke out not too long ago. Okay, price target for this one is about 23 cents. It's almost there. Now, Dogecoin is a bigger altcoin, so it doesn't have as much volatility as the smaller ones. So let's see what it does after it gets to each of those price targets, and I will chart the consolidation pattern for you guys if it consolidates and see if I can get any more clues on if it will continue higher at the moment or will it be pulling back. So this basically wraps it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.